Okay, here we go. We're going to build something to explain why Notion is useful for people in school and who have a large following, to try and take the information that they have, put it in Notion, and provide a business for them. It sounds like everything's working great. Here we go. So let's start here with search the web for sources. We're going to do a in-depth report. What do need to know for specifically for school owners and owners with large unmonetized okay, do the search there, and then build a three-part system to put in Notebook LM to help come up with a VSL or explainer asset for using Notion as a backend for busy school owners and with large audiences. All right, so build that now. And then on here, we're going to take this YouTube, pop it over here. So to go high level, we're going to say Notion. What comes up? The rare occasions, Notion 1 hour, tutorial, lyrics, remix, slowed. Notion must be song, the days, templates, tour, karaoke app. Okay. Notion explainer video. Okay, and then Notion has its own website. I'll subscribe there. It's always good to subscribe to people that you're going to be working with their assets on YouTube. What is Notion? From Notion. It's a short video. Projects, 8 tools in one place, automating. Okay. Oh, I pop up because I'm live. Nice. That's cool. 11,000 views. 33,000 views. I want something that is Notion overrated. I recognize that guy. Notion Explained, 2000. 15 million views. That's 8 months ago. Introducing Notion 3.0 agents. I know that agents are really valuable. Share. We're going to copy. I'm going to go back to our Notebook LM. We're going to add a source. And let's see. Oh, because it's still working on it. It does take a moment, doesn't it? Okay, add that source. Okay, and then what else? Oh, 164,000 views. Introduction to everything you'll learn in this course. 3 years ago, Notion Academy. It is old, but it has lots of views, which means that it might be still really relevant. 13 mind-blowing use cases of Notion. Agents. Notion easy tutorial for beginners. Become a Notion expert in 20 minutes. That sounds like my style. Let's take that, copy that. Productive setups, subscribe. Okay. Getting started with Notion projects. Oh, it's a playlist. That's a good idea. Simple explanation. Now I need a little bit more in-depth for what I'm using for my sources. Website. Paste. Insert, and that means it's verified. Oh. Oh, the transcript's not available. Okay. Let's try again, just in case. I know it says the transcript's not available, but sometimes retrying it works. Yep. Okay. Not sure why. Maybe I had trouble pulling the transcript the first time. But, okay. So, we got that. And then over here, 3-part system. Per your understanding, introduction to flag flaws in Red Oceans, we need to address a critical flaw. This concept before building the system. The flaw. Pitching Notion to busy school owners and influencers is a trap. The market for Notion setups is a saturated Red Ocean. Furthermore, influencers making over 2K in MRR don't want their piece of software to learn. They want their time back and their churn rate stopped. If your VSL focuses on Notion's features, it will fail. True. Notion must be positioned purely as the invisible backend. True. The operational infrastructure that tracks member stickiness, automates onboarding, and catches the silent killers causing them to drop their deferred. Didn't I? Did you? Retention, automatic logic, not a workspace. What that position corrected. Here is 3-part prompt system to feed into NotebookLM. To set up grounding NotebookLM, before running these prompts, you must upload your source material to NotebookLM so it isn't guessing. Upload a brain-dump document of the specified operational leaks you've identified in school communities. Okay, any case studies or dumb data showing how your system tracks community stickiness. Your ideal client profile. Once that source is checked, run this 3-part sequence. Okay, so it's saying in order to properly set up NotebookLM before running that, we need these assets, which we have not built these assets. And I think what I'm going to do is just take this out. It's good advice. Like if we had more time to set it up, or when doing it properly, setting that up ahead of time would be the way to go. First prompt forces up again to synthesize your raw data into specific emotional and financial pain points of the target audience. Copy and paste this NotebookLM. Audience leak synthesis. Analyze providing source documents. Target business looking at silent killers. What do they think their problem leads? Okay. Mechanism logic bridge prompt. Once NotebookLM understands the pain, the second prompt introduces your solution. It forces the AI to translate your Notion build into business outcomes rather than software features. Review the operational links identified in this previous for state systematic critical constraint. Do not talk about Notion databases, relations, or roll-up translation everything. Okay. VSL script assembly prompt. This final prompt takes the synthesized pain from part 1 and mechanism part 2 to write an actual explainer asset. Copy paste this into NotebookLM. Prompt explainer generation. Sure, let's do it. All right. Defining dummy data. I like that. Here we go. Write these in Google Docs or Markdown files. Clear H1, H2. Okay. Data dump. Document 2. Document 3. Document 4. NotebookLM formatting best practices. Keep them separate. Okay. So what we want to do is, we'll take this. We have an untitled document here. We're going to do a new document, and then new document, right? And we're trying to do this fast. So we're going to do document 1, copy, paste, boom. All right, and then it says here are the 4 specific to create upload. Write these in Google Docs or as a markdown. Use clear H1 and H2 headers to help the AI map the logic. Okay. And this one is silent killers. Copy. No, I just want silent killers. Yep, perfect. And then the next one is going to be financial impact. Copy that. Okay. With me, not against me. Paste. There we go. All right. Document 2. We'll take this. Copy. Paste. There it is. Deleted it. All right, moving on. Operational backend logic. Copy. All right, delete that, paste it. Okay, let me paste it rather than doing the untitled document again. There it is. Okay, document 3. Copy. Set it like that. There we go. Paste. And we're good. Okay, next one is going to be, let's check the time. Time 8:28. So we've been like 10 minutes or so. Keep the hustle flowing. Source map. All right. Copy. There it is. Untitled. Okay. Paste that. Okay. And there it is. Source map. Nice. Okay. And then we have, copy that. Paste. There we go. Okay. Keep them separate. Uploading 4 distinct files works better than one massive document because NotebookLM can pull insight from specific themes without the context bleeding together. That's true. I've had that happen to me before. Sometimes NotebookLM will focus on one source more than all the other sources just because it found something related to what you're asking rather than comparing all the sources. So, all right, I think it's done. Notion, top 23 sources. Okay, let's import those sources. All right. Give it a quick second to update. And let's double check. Most of these are from Notion. That's the one I uploaded. Okay. I don't see anything from Reddit, which is fine. All right. And then let's upload, to add more sources. We're going to go to my drive. We're going to upload the last 4. Source map, this, and this. Those are the ones I just created. Just go to your drive, insert them in there. And it's going to do it. Right? Okay, great. Now, what does it say? Provide significant update to the product. Okay. So it just gave me a short update of the first video that I made. And, not the best. And let's just do a simple thing here. You got, what would be the best explainer asset to create via via Notebook LM with the current sources related to selling a. Well, actually, it gave me something here. Let's go with what we did with the AI, rather than just going straight with that, because using Notebook LM requires a little bit of finesse. keep them separate, use Markdown, clear Google Docs, use strong, declare, don't say sometimes members leave, say members who do not attend, call with, okay. So let's go back up here. Best possible via script, I don't know, use your source documents need to be highly structured, okay. Yep, that's a structure. Okay, so next is, let's talk about the flaw, grounding notebook LM. We did that with the dummy data, part 1, the pain link extraction prompt. This first prompt forces Notebook LM to synthesize your raw data into specific emotional financial pain points. Target audience, copy paste this in it. Prompt 1, audience and leak synthesis. Analyze the provided sources documents. Turn business. Yep. Okay, so we're going to try this. Let's just do what Gemini says for now, and if we produce something great, then we'll follow through. If not, then we'll try talking to Notebook LM directly. But since it's all based on Google, it generally works out pretty good. So we'll start with this. Paste, and we already used one of our 50, so that's okay though. Of all the books I've made, I haven't even actually used all 50 prompts, and usually you get something really good, so you don't have to worry about using up all your 50 most of the time. Okay. All right, now while that's working, we're going to so yeah, this is part of it. The waiting for it to get stuff done. Sometimes it's fast. This was fast. But when creating an asset, it can take several minutes at times. Okay, here are the top 3 silent killers. Onboarding gap. Actual operation problem is they suffer from severe leaky bucket because there's no system. Okay. Engagement illusion. What they think their problem is, they believe their community is healthy because they see members occasionally logging in to like the post. Their actual operation problem is they rely on vanity metrics instead of tracking true engagement signals. Okay, financial cost. Manual labor trap. What they think the problem is, they think they simply need more discipline to log in and manage the community every day, or they believe the way out virtual assistant. Actual operation problems, they trapped working in the business instead of on it. Owners are losing 5 to 7 hours a single week to manually administrative tasks, manually checking. Okay, financial cost of ignoring these leaks. Aside from potentially wasting $500 to $1,500 a month, via unscalable manual work. All right, cool. So what is the next part? Once Notebook understands the pain, the second prompt reduces your solution. It forces the AI to translate your Notion build into business outcomes rather than the software features. Copy and paste this into Notebook LM. Translation. Review the operational leaks identified in the previous step. Now analyze the source documents regarding my backend infrastructure solution. Map out exactly how my system solves each of these 3 silent killers. For each solution, create a before state. Okay. Hopefully this will work, because so far it's going pretty good. The problem with this is I don't know that these dummy ones we created are actually going to be information dense enough to actually provide more of an answer. But we'll see. We'll see what it comes up with. This is all part of trying to create something fairly quickly that you can start with. You can always take whatever assets you build or things that you like and put them into a new Notebook LM, or take them separately into AI and try and add to them. So it's all part of the process. And let's see what comes out. Here we go. Here are your operational backend directly. Here's how, okay. 3 silent killers, shifting the business from a state of manual exhaustion to a state of systematic repeated workflows. Okay. State solving, yep. Okay, cool. Says the pain point from part 1, mechanism part 2 to write actual explainer asset. Copy and paste this into Notebook LM. Explainer asset. All right. Copy. Paste. And let's see what it comes up with. So it's, 3 minutes. We don't want it to be 3 minutes. We want it to be shorter than that. Okay, so let's shrink this down. 30 seconds. Let's do a 15-second hook. Okay, we'll correct it here. Okay, 15 seconds. And we want this to be 0.45. 45, the pivot, mechanism. Okay, then we're going to do 0.45 to, let's give them another 45 seconds to talk about. Because we want overall time to be like 1.5 minutes. So 45 seconds would be too much because we still have the next process. So we'll do another 30 seconds for this, and then we'll say 15 seconds for the call to action. We'll see. 3 minutes is probably what it was suggesting because of how long it takes for this to happen, but we'll see. Let's try and push it a little bit. Let's push it, force it to be faster, and see what it comes up with on its own, and then we'll work from there. All right. Now we want 30. So we're going to cut it in half. We want about 1 minute and 30. And we'll see what it does. This is kind of fun. All right. For the first time doing this, I like it. I'm getting right into it. Now, the problem with how I've been doing this is I don't personally understand what's going on here. In future videos, I'm going to take more time to try and explain where I start and what we're learning. A large part of the problem is the reading, because all of this is in text, so I have to read it. We can create assets and then talk about what we learned after the fact. Also, reading it while on the screen could be boring for people that are watching. I may have to just edit that out in the future, but while I'm live, what the heck, let's just do it. Okay, here is the video VSL script. Timeline, okay. Before onboarding, after, okay. Visual, okay. All right. Now that I made that, like this, yeah. The visual is supposed to, so I was supposed to actually put a, oh, okay, brackets for what should be shown on screen during each section. Okay. So this is so far a readout for how to set up a VSL. Okay. 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 All right. So all of that has been put into Notebook LM. How or what is the best asset for me to ask it to create? And how do I set that up? All right. I mean, it should be some sort of VSL, but maybe it'll decide to not. Okay, distinct advantage. AI no longer generates devices specialized. Okay, BSL. Okay, diagnostic scorecard and audit. Okay, do not want to read a 15-page ebook. They want a rapid, data-driven reality check that exposes exactly where they're bleeding cash. An audit acts as a mirror, showing them their operational gaps. Okay. Okay, asset one, the retention link diagnostic scorecard. This is your lead magnet assets scale. Okay. Select all 4 of your source documents in the then paste this prompt. Okay, so a key function here. The value of what we're going to come up with is going to be very slim because we used dummy data to move through this quickly. If we had taken more time to come up with better data to put in there, then of course the kind of thing that we would make would be a lot higher quality than this. I've done this before. It takes a lot more time to gather data, especially by hand, rather than just having the AI make up a bunch of stuff. So, in the future, I'll have to take that into consideration and take a little bit more time to gather appropriate data. But you could certainly see how, if you had some of your own documents, or like even taking screenshots of what you have and putting it in there would be useful for a personalized aspect. Okay, so retention link. Okay, scoring, brief internet. Okay, so let's do this. Let's undercut the silent killers and mechanism logic and the fact that it wants me to just use those, because I know that we use dummy data for that, and it was not very useful. So let us just try and do it with everything that we have in there and see what it comes up with. All right. So it says to using, let's do this. Copy, paste, and then let's see. Let's see what it makes. And then we're going to do the next one. And if it suggests just using those, we're going to avoid that as well. And we're just going to see what it makes. And I realize that part of this is cut out from my face being here. Okay. Okay, so what this created was something like a questionnaire that you would send to your client that you wanted to work with, and it would ask them specifically if they have these things. All right, you have an automated intake system that instantly routes new members to a central tracking hub, right? That's a bit much. This could be useful to somebody you already have as a warm lead, or maybe somebody that you would like to help that might be, let's say, like you have more influence. Like if you're really big and you already have served lots of customers and you have a lot of social proof that you could use from your business acumen that you've helped other people, and people know that you know what you're doing. So this could be like, hey, I know I could help you. I just want to specifically know if this will help you, like a productized service. So this is a cool questionnaire. It could be useful for some people. It's not exactly what I'm looking for in terms of creating an asset. right now. So asset 2, the executive briefing explainer. If you needed an asset for a video, a pin post in your own community, or direct outreach DM, an executive briefing is more effective than a traditional hype heavy VSL. It reads like an internal memo, outline a massively operational flaw, an exact logic to fix it. How to set up in Notebook LM, make sure your sources are still selected, and paste this prompt. Document into a 2-page documents. All right, copy this, and we'll see what it comes up with, and whether or not it's useful in this use case. In the future, I should remember to have the notebook one on the right side so that my face doesn't block the working. Okay, what did it come up with? Executive briefing, operational infrastructure, churn mitigation. Owners who have crossed the 2,000 monthly recurring revenue threshold have achieved a significant milestone, but they are often mathematically trapped. Okay, summary, financial cost of joining the league is severe. Without a structured retention system, owners spend an average customer acquisition cost of 50 to acquire new members who stays for only a single. Yeah, that's not good. Spending $50 to get somebody in to have them spend 99 on top of everything else that it costs just to run and service that one person, you're probably taking a loss. The core bottleneck, most community owners believe they need more leads and more discipline, but their actual operational bottleneck is the manual labor trap. Owners lose 5 to 7 hours a week. Administrative tasks, they're trapped working in the business instead of on it. Okay, that seems to be coming up in our data quite a bit. Hiring a virtual assistant cost-effective per month truly outsources unscalable manual data entry work without fixing the underlying problem. Similarly, adding more standalone apps creates management overhead, business. Okay, yep. Infrastructure solution must be entirely removed from the data entry process. Solution is an invisible backend. Infrastructure built on the philosophy of build easy, iterate systematically. The backend neutralizes churn through 2 core automation states. New members receive a generic welcome message and are left to navigate the community alone without structural progression. Okay. When a member joins, a profile is routed to a central tracking hub. Customized 30-day onboarding checklist entirely without human intervention. The member receives a guided progression roadmap that keeps them engaged during the most critical churn window. Now that sounds really useful. Stickiness tracking. Okay. Okay. All right. So, what can we turn this into? An infographic, flashcards, reports, data table, mind map. Let's turn it into an infographic and see. Turn this into a infographic. Not M4. Info. Turn this. Last response into an infographic. Okay. Let's see what it does. And then now it's generating it. And then for a bit of side fun, flashcards, reports, data table. Let's have it create a data table on top of that and just see what it comes up with. Now, it could take a while for this to generate. Since we're live, I could cut this later for when I do stuff in the future or posting it on YouTube. Oh, is it done? Okay, so it did that quick. Oh, the data, okay. Okay. Okay, and then there's the sources. So what did we do? We created a database, right? Let's go ahead and just, there we go. So we built a database. Platform tool, tally forms, form builder, unlimited forms responses, free conditional logic, custom thank you pages, compliance, and Stripe payments. Okay, so direct internal workspace connection, embedded links, background queues, direct REST API. Okay. Notion Forms native, form builder, direct workspace connection, native Slack integration, and basic templatized utilization. Writes directly to workspace without third-party tools, includes a Notion workspace seat. Lacks conditional logic and multi-page layouts. Branding and notifications require paid workspace seats. Okay. So this would be looking for different apps that you could use. Huh. Payment alerts, streamlines, connects, schedules and flags overdue invoices for creators on the go. Limited to 500 blocks per page, recommended for stability, requires mobile-friendly dashboard design. So yeah, this is the form builder, automation platform, data extraction, database, blueprint. So this is what they do. And then, okay. So why would this be useful? If you have somebody who is looking for a means to determine between these, but in this case, they usually could do a search on their own. I don't know how valuable this actually is. And this comes down to what we talked about earlier with the amount of data that I put in there and how kind of all over the place. It wasn't necessarily defined. It wasn't necessarily hyper-focused enough. So this comes down to having the right mindset and looking for the right data. And then even if when I made dummy data, I should have put more effort into making the dummy data apply more to the asset that I wanted to make. So this asset's not necessarily useful. I don't know who I would ship this to, but it is interesting. So now let's go back to, we don't want to expand it. We just want to go back to the studio. Is it done? All right. Community scaling, Notion School Integration Tools database. So this is the, okay. What did it come up with? Let's see. Okay. The school scale blueprint, escaping the manual labor trap and solving the 90-day churn. The silent killers of community growth. Churn, leaky bucket. Right. Manual owners waste advisor weekly on manual posting, moderating, and repetitive amendment tasks. Missing a live call in the first 14 days increases 2-month churn likelihood. The invisible backend solution, automated onboarding and infrastructure, instantly route new members to a central hub and generate customized 30-day checklists. Health scores and stickiness tracking, automatically tag members as at risk if they are inactive for 7 days. The leadership dashboard, receive weekly automated synthesis of MRR, operational leaks with 0 manual tallying, manual versus invisible backend comparison. Okay, so this might be useful um, as a potential like quick explainer that you could look at and try to say like what the value is of what it is you're trying to do. And once again, this is the weakness is the stuff that I put in there. So the stuff that I put in there as the information doesn't necessarily apply to the 3-part format. And part of that problem is that I don't have a lot of information to work with as far as 3-part format. But it is something that could be restructured and made better for someone to use to explain how they want to use Notion as a backend, but explain in a visualized manner what it is that could be useful for them. So this has been interesting. This is something that you could try and ship. I know it says it's made by Notebook LM. That's not necessarily going to bother somebody because they know that you're using a tool to come up with this information anyways. And if you're not somebody trying to advertise yourself as a graphic designer, the fact that you used an AI tool isn't going to be a problem. Unless you want to be a graphic designer, then shipping something like this makes it obvious that the AI did it for you. Fair enough. So I think of the stuff we've come up with, this is probably the most valuable thing. It doesn't necessarily apply. I would want to come over here and work with my sources a bit more. Maybe try and refine what it was I was trying to make. Because for this, it's a good visualizer, but it doesn't necessarily apply to what I was trying to do. And of course, I didn't explain what I was trying to do very well at the beginning either. I just kind of jumped into this. So, this has been the first actual test case of trying to learn something within an hour and build it within an hour. The concept of taking somebody who is a busy business owner or a school community owner, telling them that you could create something for them that is an automated backend that will give them value, take care of stickiness tracking and leadership dashboard, and taking away some of their manual labor, as opposed to them hiring a virtual assistant. It'll be an automated system that you could build for them without saying that it's Notion. And I think that that could be valuable if it was refined a bit. Something that we're missing is the intended ICP, like the person that we actually want to try and sell to, like where they're at and what level of professionality they're going to need for them to even want to look at this. Because they could look at this and be like, this is so simplistic and so vague in terms of what it actually does that they're not going to be interested. So we would need to refine what we're building and ask it to do it again. And that would just take a little bit more time. But at least we shipped something, and you could take what we've built today and refine it for tomorrow, which I think we will do when I go live again next. Thank you to anybody who showed up, and hopefully see you soon.